頭先我一直講嘅呢，都係話啲養分由塊葉向下走去個莖，再向下走去個根嘅。咁其實有冇機會向上行㗎？2023年嘅第5條長題目呢，係有關於植物嘅跨課題題目嚟嘅。咁首先題目呢，就俾咗個葉綠體嘅圖片我哋啦。咁跟住啦就問翻 Y 係乜嘢咯？嗱，咁都係嗰句啦。見到 XYZ 呢，梁 Sir 都成日提大家噶啦，有翻個好習慣寫翻個名先啦。人哋唔係問你個名，就問你功能噶啦。咁而家啦。Part A 咧，正正就係考翻葉綠體嘅結構咯，膜啊、內膜啊、基質啊、類囊體啊同埋基粒咯。X 啦，自不然就係基粒啦。Z 咧就係 stroma 基質啦，而 Y 咧正正就係類囊體或者類囊體膜啦。問完咁直接嘅題目啦，送完分俾你咧，就去到 Part B 咯，就要你去指出啦，喺個 X 即係基粒所發生嘅能量轉換，同埋啦。佢對於光合作用嘅重要性究竟係乜嘢呢？嗱，一題就兩問咯。首先啊 ，X 咧就係基粒啊嘛，咁喺基粒所發生嘅反應，正正就係光化反應。光化反應係做緊啲乜嘢㗎？就係將太陽光就轉化成為乜嘢嘅能量呢？嗱，記緊題目係問緊你能量轉換啊嘛，就正如我哋平時講血管佢運送血液嘅方向啊，或者擴散啊、滲透啊，佢哋都係講緊啲嘢嘅喐動方向噶嘛，就都要講由邊度去邊度。而今次我哋講嘅能量轉換就係由一個能量嘅形態去到另一個能量嘅形態，所以啦，一定要由邊款形態去到邊款形態嘅。咁而家啦，呢個能量轉換自不然就係由最終極嘅能量來源就係光能啦。我哋就諗下啦，究竟光合作用想產生嘅係乜嘢呢？就係食物入面嘅化學能啊嘛。咁當然啦，呢個化學能呢，就唔係淨係話直接變成嘢食噶嘛。咁所以啦，我哋就要諗翻啦。咁究竟將光能轉化成化學能，呢個化學能究竟係乜嘢呢？唔係嘢食咁簡單，而係下一步想要做嘅卡爾文循環啦，又或者係碳固定啦。咁所以呢，我哋原來呢就提供嘅能量係攞嚟製造 NADPH 同埋 ATP， 為邊個所用啊？就係為卡爾文循環、暗反應或者碳固定嘅作用呢，去提供能量啦。咁呢幅圖呢，正正就係我哋作為光合作用嗰一課嘅一個簡單嘅總結啦。由光化反應所產生嘅 ATP 同埋 NADPH 咧，呢啲能量就攞嚟幫我哋就將個 CO2 咧就逐個砌下。嗱，砌嘢係需要能量噶嘛，係咪？合成代謝，咁合成代謝需要能量，我就喺光化反應俾啲能量你，用完之後啦 ，NADP 啊 ADP 咧又翻去光化反應，又再做過咯。咁所以啦，光化反應佢個重要性就係提供一啲能量俾卡爾文循環去製造葡萄糖，而喺個葡萄糖入面所儲存住嘅係咪又係講緊化學能啊 ？OK， 咁過往2016年咧都有一條題目係問翻葉綠體入面唔同嘅結構，佢哋如何去合作去產生嘢食嘅。咁啊，快啲睇下片溫下書咯。然後啦，去到 Part C 咧，佢就問翻啦，喂，咁究竟啦喺 Z 即係喺基質嗰度發生嘅過程啦，究竟總括而言啦，佢係邊一款嘅新陳代謝咧？同埋解釋你嘅答案咯。嗱，又係一題兩問咯。首先啊 ，Z 基質做乜嘢先？就係做 Calvin cycle 卡爾文循環或者暗反應或者碳固定嘅作用啦。咁當我哋知道咗砌嘢之後啦，咁我哋梗係要講下新陳代謝究竟有邊兩款啦，係咪？咁呢個題目啦就考翻啦，新陳代謝就係由分解代謝同埋合成代謝組合而成嘅。咁同埋題目亦都考翻啦 ，catabolism 分解即係拆嘢啦 ，anabolism 合成即係砌嘢啦，兩者有咩分別呢？咁而家我哋就知道啦，喺光反應所產生嘅 ATP 同 NADPH 咧，就會去到個基質嗰處， 就會將個碳固定咗，固定成為乜嘢啊？成為碳水化合物，有機嘅化合物咯。呢個過程正正就係卡爾文循環啊嘛，係咪？咁所以啦，我哋就係利用 ATP 同埋 NADPH 所帶嚟嘅 hydrogen 個氫啦，就將一個三碳嘅化合物去還原成為我哋嘅丙糖磷酸啦。咁所以答案咧，你就要指出咯。首先啦，呢個反應咧係一個合成代謝嘅反應啦。而原因啦，我哋就係利用所產生咗嘅能量啦，就將擁有一個碳原子嘅二氧化碳啦，生成咗我哋嘅葡萄糖啦。咁當然除咗葡萄糖之外啦，你都可以講下丙糖磷酸啊、澱粉質啊，諸如此類嘅答案嘅。跟住啦，去到 part D 咧，就係關於一棵薯仔咯。咁題目就要我哋去描述下呢棵薯仔嘅葉啊，佢所產生嘅光合作用嘅產物咧，點樣可以去到地下嘅塊徑嗰處去儲存？題目咧就係考緊我哋幾樣嘢嘅。第一咧就係有關於一棵植物嘅有機養分嘅輸導啦 translocation 咯。同埋題目啦，亦都考翻我哋有關於啦一塊葉所產生嘅光合作用嘅產物啦。究竟噶啦，佢係如何轉換成為一個可以運送嘅模式咧 transport form。然後啦，題目亦都有問噶嘛，嗰啲光合作用嘅產物咧係由塊葉去到地下塊徑啊嘛，咁即係我哋牽涉咗嘅係傳送啦，係咪？咁究竟啦喺棵植物入面啦，有乜嘢嘅組織牽涉咗喺呢個傳送嘅過程當中咧？然後到第三啦，傳送到落去地下塊徑咯，咁要儲存喎。咁究竟啦碳水化合物又如何儲存咧？就係啦，將呢個碳水化合物嘅運送嘅模式，就要將佢轉化成為一個儲存嘅模式咯。咁我哋就嚟睇下呢個題目嘅思考邏輯啦。一開始啦，喂，咁究竟一棵植物佢所產生嘅光合作用產物係乜嘢嚟嘅咧？而我即時能夠用得到嘅又係一個乜嘢嘅模式咧？咁自不然啦，呢啲光合作用嘅產物咧，就例如葡萄糖啦。咁你話唔係喎？答案仲有寫澱粉質㗎喎，梁 Sir。嗱，其實都係㗎，塊葉都可以儲嘢食㗎嘛，係咪？所以啦，你答佢澱粉質又得，丙糖磷酸又得，答葡萄糖就係一個最直接嘅答案啦。光合作用所產生嘅就係嘢食啊嘛，嘢食咁喂，我個細胞都要用㗎，係咪？咁自不然就產生葡萄糖，咪即刻用咗佢咯。但係而家啦，條題目唔係淨係講用喎，係要講傳送啊嘛，因為要傳到落去地下塊徑啊嘛，由塊葉嗰樹係咪？咁既然啦要運送，咁我哋就要諗下啦。喂，咁我哋就諗下啦，喺棵植物嘅結構當中，邊一啲嘅組織係牽涉喺輸導 translocation 咧？自不然就係考緊我哋嘅人皮部啦，係咪？就將啲嘢食咧，就由個葉啦，去到個徑啦，再去到地下嘅塊徑嗰樹啦。咁跟1、2、3，然後咯，喂，咁要運送，頭先都係嗰句啦。然後啦，我哋就諗翻啦，你運送啊嘛，水化合物嘅運送模式係乜嘢啊？就係蔗糖啦。咁所以啦，我哋就要講咯，由當初所製造出嚟嘅葡萄糖就會轉化成為蔗糖去進行運輸咯。然後去到最後尾啦，真係運到落個塊徑啦，要儲存啦。咁用咩辦法去儲存呢？就係將雙糖轉化成為多糖，一個較為複雜嘅溶唔到水嘅狀態。呢個呢就係澱粉質啦。去到最後尾呢，我哋就要講翻將蔗糖轉化成為澱粉質，就俾呢個地下塊徑作儲存之用咯。咁過往都有題目咧，去講緊翻呢個人皮部嘅結構或者木質部人皮部嘅，咁啊快啲睇下片溫下書咯噃。好，跟住啦就嚟到一點出發咯。今次呢個題目梁 Sir 講咗啦，佢係跨課題啊嘛，係咪？首先啦就問我哋葉綠體啦，然後啦就問光合作用同埋輸導咯。首先講啦光合作用先啦，究竟啦相關嘅結構啦，類囊體就做光化反應，基質咧就做碳固定。咁兩者啦又點樣做個合作呢？大家又要快啲溫下書咯。然後講輸導啦，自不然就係講人皮部啦。咁人皮部有啲咩嘅適應性特徵啊？然後啦就再講下啦。喂，輸導咧運一啲有機嘅養分，究竟個方向係如何呢？嗱，塊葉啦就係整嘢食嘅，OK。咁啊棵植物嗰個徑咧 如果佢都係綠色嘅話啦，佢都識得整嘢食嘅係咪？但係如果啦佢係樹皮啡啡黑黑嘅，喂唔識得做光合作用嘅喎，咁即係話啲嘢食咧都要由塊葉向下運送去到個莖啦，去到個根啦，俾佢哋去用，甚至乎係儲存。咁如果棵植物啦係開咗花嘅，咁啲花都要養分嘅係咪？甚至乎啦開花之後做埋全花粉，做埋受精就結果咯。咁個果實點解可以越泵越脹呢？其實都係歸功於塊葉將啲養分傳過去俾佢哋啦，係咪？頭先我一直講嘅呢，都係話啲養分由塊葉向下走去個莖，再向下走去個根嘅。咁其實有冇機會向上行㗎？當然有機會啦，呢個就係時機嘅問題啦。有日照嘅時候啦，咁塊葉梗係做到光合作用啦，整到嘢食啦，咁咪可以向下運送俾一啲做唔到光合作用嘅地方啦，係咪？例如莖啦同埋根啦。咁但係啦，如果塊葉嘅食物儲藏亦都用完啦，例如係咩嘅季節啦，例如冬天啦，係咪？日照時間較為短啊，氣溫較為低啊，咁如果塊葉啦去做光合作用做得唔夠快嘅時候啦，都有機會要問翻條根去拎一啲儲存咗嘅嘢食噶喎，係咪？甚或乎啦，有啲植物咧去到冬天嘅時候係會落葉噶嘛，落葉嘅時候啦，喂，你連做光合作用都做唔到啊！但係你棵樹係咪就會死啊？唔係啊嘛，咁你條根啊，更加要將一啲儲存咗嘅嘢食釋放翻出嚟，去俾個莖啊，去俾啲枝條所用啊。OK，咁所以啦，一個書道嘅方向時機咧，大家就要溫翻書咯。咁當然啦，除咗印皮部，仲有木質部啦，係咪？咁過往都有唔少題目都係問木質部嘅。正正今次嘅2023年咧，都係有一條詔書問有關於根啊、莖啊佢個印皮部同埋木質部個擺位啊，點樣幫你分得清佢哋嘅？跟住啦，就再結合翻就問儲存咯。植物啦要儲存養分嘅時候啦，咁你見得到啦，根莖葉啦、個花啦、果實啦，其實佢哋都係可以儲存到嘢食嘅。咁啊，因為佢哋真係總要用啊，有多俾咗你嘅就儲住先，以備不時之需。而今次嘅題目呢，就問翻營養部分啦，因為佢問個薯仔嘅地下塊莖啊嘛 ，stem tuber 啊嘛，係咪？下次可能就問翻你營養繁殖噶咯。哎呀，點解個薯仔呢可以做到無性繁殖嘅呢？將啲嘢食儲存喺呢個營養部分 stem tuber 嗰樹，而當呢個薯仔啦，去遇到一個適當環境嘅時候啦，佢就會重新發芽咯。關於儲存嘅概念，仲有啲咩嘢可以問呢？喺植物，佢哋要儲存碳水化合物呢，就係用澱粉質啦。而我哋人類呢，喺個肝臟呢，就係儲存個糖原嘅。嗱，佢哋兩者都係多糖嚟嘅，都係複雜啦，溶唔到落水嘅。啊，點解要儲存佢哋呢？正正就係因為佢唔會影響到個細胞嘅水勢啦。你幻想下，如果一個細胞佢入面儲存住嘅係葡萄糖，溶到落水嘅話，咁其實咁其實呢個細胞佢個水勢係非常之低嘅。咁啲水咧應該就會由呢個細胞周圍嘅部分啦，例如我哋嘅組織液啦，就會衝入去噶啦。咁我哋個細胞咧就會爆咗。咁所以啦，我哋要儲存嘢食，植物細胞就用澱粉質，我哋嘅肝臟細胞啊、肌肉細胞咧就以糖原嘅方式咧儲存碳水化合物咯。223 question 5 is a cross-topic question. It's about the plants. First of all, a electron micrograph of a chloroplast is shown. So you can see that for the structure X, Y, Z. So as what I say that, have a good practice. Once you see the structure, label them first. Because the question either asks you the name or the function of that particular structure. So let's see part A. Label structure Y. Surely needs us to recall the structure of the chloroplast. So you can see that for the outer membrane, inner membrane, stroma, thylakoids, and grana. So for X, it is the granum, Z is the stroma, and Y is the thylakoid or the thylakoid membrane. And then for part B, state the energy conversion which takes place at X, the granum, and its importance in the photosynthesis. It means the importance of the energy conversion. So for this question, is checking us the photochemical reaction in the granum, and then you need to state the energy conversion. So it's just like that, the direction question, or the direction of the blood flow in the artery or in the vein, from where to where. And this case, the same idea, energy conversion from which form to which form. So we need to recall that the ultimate energy source is the light energy. Then we need to state the significance of the energy conversion in the photosynthesis. The main product of the photosynthesis is the food, and in the food, chemical energy is stored in it. Therefore, the basic energy conversion is talking about light energy is captured in the granum to convert to chemical energy. But this chemical energy is not yet the food. So the energy, what's for, is for the Kelvin cycle or the carbon fixation. Therefore, the light energy is converted into the chemical energy to provide energy in the form of the NADPH and ATP for Kelvin cycle, dark reactions, and the carbon fixation. So you can refer this summary, so you can refer this diagram for the photosynthesis summary. For the photochemical reaction, ATP and the NADPH, they are produced to provide energy to combine the carbon dioxide to form the glucose. And at that moment, the NADP and ADP, they are regenerate and go back to the photochemical reactions again. In the past, there was question asking the collaboration in different structures of the chloroplast. How can the phalangoid and the grana and the stroma, they cooperate with each other for the overall photosynthesis reaction? And for part C, to which type of the metabolism does the overall reaction at Z stroma belong? Explain your answer. Also, two questions here. First of all, you need to recall the concept of the metabolism equal to catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism is talking about breaking down, and anabolism is about building up. So we need to recall the process taking place at Z stroma. What is it? Is the Kelvin cycle, carbon fixation. So in the book, you can see that ADP and the NADPH formed in the photochemical reactions are used to fix the carbon into organic compounds. The details, the 3C compounds is reduced to the triophosphate, and the two molecules of the triophosphate then combine to form one molecule of the glucose. So what you need to answer, the processes belong to the anabolism, and we use the energy capture to produce glucose from carbon dioxide. And then for part D, we need to describe how the photosynthetic products of the leaves are stored in the underground tubers of a potato plant. So you can see that in this question, several ideas. First of all, is checking as the concept of the translocation of the organic nutrients. And then we also need to recall the conversion of the photosynthetic products to the transport form, because the question is asking the photosynthetic product, they are in the leaves, and at the end they will be in the underground tubers. So you see that they are transported from the leaves to the underground tubers, right? And then when we are talking about translocation or transport, we need to realize the path or involving tissues for the transporting the photosynthetic products. And finally, is talking about the storage. Therefore, we need to recall the conversion of the transport form to the storage form. So let's take a look at the thinking logic. First of all, we need to recall that what are the photosynthetic products and readily to be used. So photosynthetic products, for example, the very simple sugar, glucose, they are produced. Or you can say, or you see that from the answer key, we have the triophosphate and the starch. For starch, for Mr. Leung, surely starch, they are not the readily used form, they are the storage form. Therefore, I start from the glucose. And after that, we need to talk about transport. So what is the tissue involved in translocation? Surely, it's about the phloem. And then when we are talking about the phloem, they are responsible for the translocation of the carbohydrates, organic nutrients. We need to recall the transport form of the photosynthetic products. It is the sucrose, which is a disaccharide, a double sugar, which is still water soluble, and two sugars molecules are transported together. Somehow we can transport more carbohydrates. Therefore, you need to say that the photosynthetic products, glucose, are converted to the sucrose for transport along the phloem from the leaves through the stem and then to the underground tubers. But that's not the end of the question, because we are talking about storage. Therefore, we need to recall what is the storage form of the photosynthetic products in the underground tubers of the plants, of the potato plants. And the answer is starch, which is the polysaccharide, compressed and water insoluble. Therefore, finally, you need to say that finally, you need to mention that sucrose is converted to starch for storage in the underground tubers. So you can see that in the past, there are different questions about the phloem vessels and the xylem vessel, phloem vessel comparison. Watch the video for the revision. And then let's talk about the curriculum mapping. This question, what I say that is the cross-topic question. So let's see. It starts from the chloroplast, and then it asks us about the photosynthesis and the translocation. For the photosynthesis, we talk about the structure and the processes involved. In the phalangoid, photochemical reactions takes place. And in the stroma, carbon fixation Calvin cycle takes place. And then you need to know that how can the structure collaborate with each other. And then when we talk about the translocation of the organic nutrients, surely we need to mention phloem. So what is the adaptive features of the phloem for translocation? And when we talk about translocation, it means transport. So we need to think about the direction. Normally, we say that the leaves, they can undergo photosynthesis. And then what if the stem, they are also green, they can also undergo the photosynthesis. But what about the stem? They are surrounded by the bark, dark brown tissues, dead tissue. So the stem cannot undergo photosynthesis. So it really depends on the leaves to provide the stem and also the root for the nutrients. We also need to consider the flowers and the fruit. They also need the nutrients from the leaves. What I have just mentioned, it seems like that for the direction of the translocation, always only one direction, or from the leaf to the stem to the root. However, the direction can be reversed. So it's about the timing, daytime or some particular seasons. So at the daytime, the sunlight is very bright and the photosynthesis, it can take place at a high rate, and then the excess food will be transported from the leaf to the stem to the root for storage, right? But what about in the winter? The light intensity may be lower and the period of the daytime will also be shorter, so the leaves cannot do the photosynthesis at that high rate in summer. So maybe the leaves need some food provided from the root. So the root, the stored food will be broken down and will be transported to the stem and to the leaves. And what about in the winter? There may be falling of the leaves, and when there is low leaf for the root, it really need to break down the stored food and then transport it to the stem, to the leaves for survival during the winter. And apart from the phloem vessel, surely we need to think about the xylem vessel. So in the past, there are different types of questions asking xylem vessel. Watch the video and do revision. And after that, we talk about the storage. Which type of structure of the plant can store the food? Surely root, stem, leaves, flower, and the fruit. And in this question, it's asking the vegetative part, the underground tuber, the stem tuber of the potato plants. So next question, it can ask you the vegetative propagation and for the asexual reproduction. And for the storage, any other possible question variation? Starch is the storage form of the carbohydrates, and glycogen is the storage form of the carbohydrate in human being. We store the glycogen in the liver and in the muscle cells. But why do we use the polysaccharide form? Starch, the glycogen, they are the polysaccharide. Why we store them in the form of the polysaccharide? And the answer is talking about the water potential. Imagine that what if the plant cells, human body cell, they store the carbohydrate in the form of glucose. Glucose, they are soluble in water, and then it will lower the water potential of, and there will be a net water movement into the cell and damage the cells. So it's not favorable at all. Therefore, we need to think about that. Why the storage form of the carbohydrates, they are water insoluble.